Welcome to today's session, 2025 Microsoft 365 Community Conference Reflections, what happened and what you need to know. 45 minutes, as always, with our Orchestry sessions, full of fun, full of great information. Before we start, hands up from anyone if they actually went to the community conference. I mean, apart from us, did anyone else go that is joining? Oh, yeah, yeah,
Right.
bunch of people, excellent. Okay,
Because we all know you
tremendous.
can never do all the things.
Yeah, you
There's
can never
only
do
so
everything.
many hours in the day.
Great, good job, everyone. Okay, well, you probably know more than us because we didn't get to as many sessions as we wanted to either, and probably not you as well. But great to see that a few people attended. Let us know in the chat what you thought. Let us know if you came by the Orchestry booth as well. We'd love to hear it. So let's get rocking and rolling. Some introductions first. First to our guest. Christian Buckley, author of one of the best-selling books on information governance we were just talking about as well, but also famous for many other things. Welcome, Christian.
It's great to be here and talk about stuff. Yeah, it's funny going to a conference like that. I always say that going to the sessions is great, but I'm almost more interested just to hear like the questions. What are people asking? What are they, what stood out to them about the various sessions? And then I'll go back and look at transcripts, watch the recordings of the sessions that I missed, based on that feedback. It's always interesting just to see like what is catching people's interest, what is driving people into sessions. So it was a lot of fun. It was great seeing you doing some stuff in the Orchestry booth, of course, doing the kind of what were you calling that with the AMA, the interviews?
AMAs, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Call it what
It's a lot
it
of fun
is,
to do that.
Christian. We're not that fancy.
But you got bullets on the screen. This is me. I've been in this space for a long time, and again, Michael and I are co-authors of one of the best-selling fake taxonomy metadata books.
Shenanigans.
It's like is a meme from years ago, but we'll have to send that out after this.
We will. Okay, lots of people calling from everywhere here. Joy, welcome.
Thank you very, very much. We've never met before. Friends, Joy Apple, Director of Success and Enablement at Orchestry. Been in this Microsoft space for 18 years. And I say this about every time I introduce myself, but I'm right every time. It's the most exciting time to be doing the Microsoft things. So much goodness. We might get through most of it today.
Yeah.
We shall see. But buckle up, everybody.
Yeah, we definitely won't, because putting this presentation together, there was a lot of stuff here. And I'm your host today. So I'm Michael, one of the founders and CEO and janitor here of Orchestry. Again, if you haven't been to any of our webinars before, welcome. If you have, thanks for coming again. I wouldn't have come again because you have to listen to me, but we're glad you're here. And I'm joined by two far smarter people as well. Christian, before I harp on about Orchestry and do a blatant sales pitch, talk a little bit about what you do so you can do the blatant sales pitch as well.
Yeah, so just really quick. So I'm I've partnered with for some time and friends with, but joined the team at Smarter Consulting, and it's the standard modern workplace, SharePoint, Teams, Copilot, Power Platform. So we have the consulting, we have learning. In fact, I'm doing workshops this week almost every day. On AI adoption, that's happening. We also have a program around governance, so that's where the connection with Michael and Joy and I. There's a bunch of things that we do around governance. In fact, Joy and I co-host a monthly series called the Guardians of M365 Governance with Ragnar Heil in Germany, where we have various guests, and Michael was a guest previously. So lots going on. If you're looking for help, this is one like any consulting company that specializes in this space. If you find that you know what you want to do but don't have the people to do it, we can step in and help. And we are partners with Orchestry, and so happy to show you how it all fits together and get your environment in order so that you can take advantage of tools like Orchestry.
Awesome. And yes, Smarter Consulting, Christian, awesome Orchestry partner as well. So we're Orchestry, platform built on top of Microsoft 365. If you have security challenges, governance challenges, adoption challenges, if you just want to stop paying Microsoft for storage, maybe we can help you with all of that as well. And we've got lots of good features coming out fairly soon here, all around a security perspective, which is pretty neat as well. All right. I've talked a little bit about this, a little bit of engagement in the chat. The reason we do these specifically webinars on Teams is so we can make it as interactive as possible. So if you do have questions, and I expect a lot of them today, feel free to put it into the meeting chat. I'll try to make sure, or Joy or Christian, that we can answer them through. We tend to do a pretty good job. But again, think of this as your way to be able to go and ask a bunch of questions. A lot of this stuff is new to us as well. Probably not going to be able to answer all of the questions, but we will give it a good go, a good crack,
and
as we would say.
We'll have a follow-up email tomorrow. So for those questions, we're like, that's an amazing question. We don't know. Give us time. We can get some answers to you.
Perfect. And then follow us on all of the platforms that we're here as well. Okay, bit of an agenda. Talk about some high-level thoughts, talk about some feature announcements. We're definitely going to complain about the lack of time, and Q&A is going to be all the way through. So let's get started here as well.
Right.
High-level thoughts. This lady is deep in thinking. She had just attended the Microsoft 365 conference. We called her personally to get permission to use this photo, chatted to her. She had some thoughts, and we had some thoughts as well about this. These are my thoughts. I'll start off with my ramblings, and we'll take it from there. I don't know if anyone's been to Vegas recently, but it is insanely expensive. I don't know what is going on over there. It is.
It used to be. It used to be able to go to like the buffets, like everything, like cheap food at least. No, it's everything exploded price wise.
Yeah, and so it was obvious to the Orchestry team. Michael hadn't been in a while, because like I think the first thing he said every day was like, "Why is it so expensive?" Like, welcome to Vegas, $22 for a bottle of water.
Yeah, it's crazy. And with the US to Canadian exchange rate, didn't really help either. The other thing we found, which was fascinating to me, being from a country that doesn't have much rain in Australia, is actually does rain in Vegas. We had 2 full days of rain. The city obviously is not in any way equipped to deal with rain because it just kind of puddles everywhere. But that was interesting as well. If you went by the Orchestry booth and you got our maple syrup, we also learned that maple syrup breaks.
I've heard
when
that.
You ship it from Canada to the US, and when it breaks, it tends to go on all the other bottles of maple syrup, making them very sticky, which we had to clean. So thank you about that. Copilot agents was mentioned about 500 times in various keynotes. I would say Copilot agents was definitely the big thrust of the conference. The other thing that I also put down, which is a little bit interesting, was that Microsoft vision of empowering SMBs with AI, particularly in Jared Spataro's closing keynote. I thought that was a really fascinating thing where, we talk about AI usually from the enterprise side. Microsoft now is talking about it more from the SMB side, and how you can have a team of both virtual people, virtual assistants, and agents working for you and giving you a whole range of capabilities there. So I thought that was super interesting. Christian or Joy, any thoughts? Your general thoughts?
Yeah, I thought it was, going in, of course, as MVPs, and we hear about a lot of things in the roadmap and what's going to be announced. Some things they even like to surprise the MVPs, and they don't tell us everything that they're going to talk about. But I was going in feeling a little underwhelmed with the announcements, just because there's nothing that I was really thought about. But again, looking at what are people excited about, and where people talked about governance of agents. I know we're going to get into that. So I heard a lot of people talking about governance of these different pieces, which is always exciting to hear. But around the pages and notebooks in Copilot. And so a lot of talk about that, and people are like, hey, I see now where this fits in and where it can take off, and like loop versus pages, loop versus, the notebooks. So I was surprised by some of that, but it was great to see excitement in an area. But I wouldn't say from Microsoft announcements, no real surprises.
For me, the big one is 3 conferences ago, Enter Copilot, right? and it was like, this is new, this is coming. And last year, people were kind of like, okay, yeah, even if we're not ready, maybe we should talk about what it's going to look like to get ready. And there's still flavors of that going on, especially for our larger, more sensitive industries. But now that conversation is shifting to how is AI going to staff our organizations? How is it going to work with us? Not just what are we going to get it to do, but it's going to be more of a partner to us very, very soon. And I find that fascinating.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, just going on about this, a bit more serious thing. Definitely what we found, I think in general, kind of AI moving from, sorry, AI, Microsoft moving from a very kind of co-pilot first approach, I think into a co-pilot agent first adoption approach.
Yeah.
We found that all the time. So I'm not sure if anyone, maybe someone can share some stories in the chat. You know, this idea of giving people co-pilot licenses, $30, and they're going to go out and become very, very effective very, very quickly. I don't see that happening with as much kind of velocity as Microsoft would like. I think Copilot being everywhere also means that it's kind of nowhere. But this kind of agent approach that Microsoft is going down around creating specific agents for specific use cases, I think is definitely a much more interesting approach. And there was Copilot agent stuff everywhere. There was SharePoint agent stuff everywhere. I know, Joy, when we spoke to people at the booth, there was a very distinct gap of people who are starting to do stuff with agents. We didn't see anyone super far along, and that was probably maybe 20% of people. But 80% of people aren't even close to being there yet at all. So if you're one of these folks on the call and you think that you're behind because everyone's running off and creating their own agents and using AI, don't be surprised, because you're not. You're definitely not there as well. Yep. And as Christian mentioned, tons of investment around security, tons of investment around readiness around security and Copilot and everything else. I would say still many gaps as well through there. And I liked some of the demos as well with AI use cases for SharePoint, which we will talk about. Huge fan of some of the kind of AI capabilities of creating SharePoint pages. I thought that was really neat. It also demos extremely well, right? Any of that Gen AI stuff is pretty neat, but I really like that. Christian, what's the one thing that kind of maybe pleasantly surprised you?
Well, I think pleasantly surprised. I don't know how it let some of it slip past me, but like Adam Harmits, when he talked about some of what's happening on the admin side and going in governance around agents. So I wasn't aware, wasn't following. I've missed the last couple NDA calls that went through and shared some of that news. So I was pleasantly surprised about this. And for those that remember, like through the history of SharePoint and Teams, Microsoft would release features without having adequate back-end governance tools in place to manage those things. And now they're going in more, I would say, more thoughtfully. There's still gaps, there's still opportunities. That's why you have solutions like Orchestry out there that do things more comprehensively. But the fact that they are thinking about that, they have governance in mind. So that was great. I'm a fan of Adam Harmits. He always has a lot of important nuggets of information in his sessions and his keynotes. And so getting to see some of that firsthand was the thing that kind of stood out for me.
Awesome. Enjoy yourself.
I'm gonna say ditto to that. Governance. Well, Christian, we talk about this a lot on the Guardians of M365 governance. Those of us that have been talking about governance for a long time, it's finally like we're being seen, because now it is the topic of the day. There's still major gaps for things like Power Platform governance, but I'm seeing Microsoft getting in front of that better than they historically have. But I don't think that means the rest of us can sit back and go, okay, they'll take care of it. We'll just rely on that. There's still a lot of preparatory work that needs to be done. Still got to look at our content. The conversation is evolving, but it's not that much different than it has been.
Yeah. With anything, I mean, you own your data, you're responsible for it. You can look at, it's great. Yeah. Microsoft had added some new features and can do some of what I need, but yeah, you are responsible ultimately for your data, what you're doing with it. So yeah, you can't just rely on waiting for, hey, Microsoft says that they're going to do more governance. What does that actually mean? What does that look like? And then you wait months and months, half a year, whole year, the feature comes out and you're like, oh, that's not quite what I thought it was. Not what so
Right.
it's at the highest level, it's governance, but
Yeah.
yeah,
And it's not
so
going to fix your stuff, right? You still have to get it ready. Like you still have to do your permissions reviews. You still have to do your content cleanup.
right.
So it's still, the conversations are still relevant.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot happening with, and I know we're not really going into purview, but you have a lot of features that are being added there to be able to go in and do more digging, to do more, to go and say, hey, I'm seeing issues here, to go through like the logs, to apply security policies. Again, you can do all of that. Just remember, you have to go into multiple places to go in and do that. It doesn't do environment wide on a lot of those policies, which is again why you go to a third party solution like Orchestry, so you can consistently automate those types of policies. But yeah, anyway, it's great to see more people talking about it. I think we've seen this the last 2 years at these conferences, is that people are coming over and it's finally clicking with people that, hey, I need to do some cleanup of my environment. I need
Yeah.
to automate a lot of this.
Yep. Got it. Perfect. Okay. Let's talk about some specific feature announcements because we've got a bunch to get through here as well.
Yeah.
And
All
yes,
right.
we will be sharing the slides.
Yes, we will same slides. And again, there's no order to these as well. This is one that I found really, really interesting, that kind of hero link for sharing. Oversharing has obviously been a huge problem. If you don't know how it works currently, if you go and click the share button, you can create a sharing link. It means that people create lots and lots of sharing links across their tenants and of course their organizations. There's so many of these things that you basically really expose the risk around oversharing. They're difficult to use. Again, we've got some functionality coming up in Orchestry, which shows you all of the sharing links ever created within the environment. And we are seeing some insane numbers for customers, literally sharing links in the tens or the hundreds of thousands, which is problematic. So the idea with this, from what I understand, and again, I was in this session and there's a good blog post about this as well. It's going to be the one link. That one link you can send out. It's going to work regardless of whether that link is shared in Teams or Outlook or the address bar, whatever it is. Really nice UI about changing the permissions after with that link. At the moment, that sharing experience is pretty terrible, and you typically send out another sharing link, which can kind of expose those files more. I really like the idea that there's also an option in here. I don't think we have it here. We don't show it here, but there's an option in here as well in terms of who can add or update the access of this. You can actually specify whether it's the owner of the file only or just people that have access to it. A couple of other things as well. The Copilot boosting is pretty neat as well. If you're sharing something, you can click on the Copilot button. It gives you a little kind of synopsis in terms of what's this, which is really, really useful as well. And again, just a much nicer experience as well here. Mark, is it file specific or site or folder level? I don't think it's site level from what I understand. I do think it's folder level though. So it's more of the item level capabilities. But again, I haven't seen this out, hasn't been there as well. But Joy and Christian, I don't know what you think. It's just going to mean a whole bunch less sharing links all over the place, and hopefully a little bit easier for users to be able to understand what the hell they've shared.
Well, I noticed yesterday I was so there were some issues with the Hoova app. If you were at the conference, the Hoova app is like the conference app. And David and I had issues uploading our presentations to be able to share. So I created a shared folder in my OneDrive, because that's what you do, with those decks in it, any one link, but I put an expiration date on it, because if we're using any one links, we always put an expiration date on it, right? Mm-hmm. Well, I went in to go create another one and I clicked an extra month out and went to expired at the end of July. And it said, oh, you already have a date set. Do you want to use that previous date? And I was like, oh, I've never seen that pop up before. I like this a lot. Yes, I want to use that previous one. saw already some little changes towards that. Like moments later, you posted the blog, Michael, about the hero link for sharing. So I was like, I see you. It's coming. Nice. I'm excited.
Yeah, they've been talking about this for about a year. I remember people cheered when they said, "Here's what we're going to do, how we're going to do it," and so it's great to see it, out there and available. But yeah, I mean, it's been a mess for a long time. That this hideous URL, it's confusing. If there's a policy in your organization that says you must, like, you can only leave a link out there for 5 days, you can still enforce that policy, but it just makes it much simpler. The links don't just, if I go and share it 3 times, if it expires each of those 3 times, it's the same link. It's just opened up, it's enabled for the person. So, the control, the governance of that side of it doesn't go away. It just simplifies that with that hero URL.
Perfect. All right, let's go on to Viva here. A lot of stuff's in Microsoft Viva. Microsoft Viva still exists, by the way, folks. Viva Topics no longer exists. That got obliterated. Viva Learning is still there.
Well, it's in SharePoint. They just like the standalone product, but
Standalone
some
product,
of the capabilities there. But yeah, right. Yeah.
But there's still. So lots of stuff for you corporate comms people here. Copilot powered news summary I thought was pretty interesting. It definitely made sense. Storyline is now available in Teams if you use Storyline from, I think it's Viva Amplify or Viva Engage somewhere.
It's just Engage. Yeah.
It's Engage.
Standard Engage. Yep.
The other thing that I found really interesting is community Q&A is now coming also to Copilot Chat. That's a really interesting one.
Oh.
Also could be dangerous, but it's going to be a grounded source of information for Copilot, which is going to be really, really interesting as well. A couple of other nice things there, if you can see by the screenshot, a communications dashboard in Engage as well. So some really nice things for our corporate comms people and from corporate communications to understand information and the efficacy and everything else. If you are using Viva Amplify as well, so Viva Amplify capability, you can create something and you can push it out through various channels, through Viva, through SharePoint, through Teams, or through Outlook, through a newsletter. Now you can do that directly from SharePoint as well. And now you can also publish to Engage from Amplify as well. I don't understand what that means. I just put that bullet point there. I hope someone does, but apparently people were pretty excited about that as well.
No, it's great. Because if you in corporate comms, or that's ever been one of your other duties as assigned, and you want to have consistent messaging, whether it's hitting people in Outlook, on the SharePoint intranet homepage, now Viva Engage, Amplify definitely gives you that capabilities. I want to add one other remark before we move on from Viva. If you and your organization are trying to figure out your game plan for AI adoption, any kind of new process adoption, technology adoption, Viva is your suite of tools that can help you do that. I feel that Microsoft marketing hasn't done a great job sharing what Viva is and what it can do. That's what it is. That's what it can do. It is your adoption toolkit. If you have questions, find me. Find me. We can help.
All right.
I'd say one thing I would say that if you like with Storyline, I've got a blog post. I'm going to drop it in the chat. I did on this. I'm a huge fan of that, which is like the Facebook type capability. But there's reasons why that's important. I cover in that blog post. Perfect. Amplify, though, I always describe it to people as it's like having HubSpot. So it's a marketing tool for internal. So you run campaigns to promote internally. So you're a larger organization in comms. It's fantastic to have that across email and Teams and SharePoint and communication sites. And so it's just a great, and then measure the response, the clicks, like all those things to see how much are we impacting with this message, with this campaign internally. Love that.
Before we go into Copilot notebooks, and then Christian, you want to talk about this, just a couple of questions. I can answer these. Any idea when the hero link for sharing will be available? I think they were saying Q3 2024. So Greg, in Microsoft language, that's anytime after Q3 2024 to Q3 2047. So that could be a while. Mark, yes, you can still set the default type of the link at the tenant. However, one of the things they did point out, which I didn't mention, is that Hero Link now is going to be defaulted to people within your organization. I think it's different than that other one. And the other thing that I heard, which was really interesting, it'll be a new type of links. Your old sharing links are not going to be converted to this. You're still going to have all of the craziness with sharing links. It's just going forward when you create these things, they're going to be that new Hero Link type. All right, Christian, I know you were interested about this and love a good Copilot notebook and pages. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, so this again, a lot of people were very excited about this, but this is the ability. If it's available now, if you're in there working in wherever you are working with Copilot, whether it's in Windows or in the browser, so you have the ability now in the bottom, left of the where you put in your prompt. You've done a prompt, you want to save it. You can actually add it to a note, to an existing note, create a new note or a page, and it will open up like a Word doc on the side that you could collaborate on. So it kind of works like Loop in that then I can @mention people, I can give them access to that. We can then go in real time, collaborate on that, permanent page where it doesn't go away, it stays over in your files. So if we're working on a doc or we're working on an outline or a program for an upcoming workshop, and so it's just a very Copilot driven collaborative space where you can have graphics and tables and content and pull it all together and then transform that output to PowerPoint or Word or whatever that you need once it's ready to go. And so as people pop in and they're co-editing, you'll see them moving around and making edits and changes and stuff. So it's just another tool as part of Copilot to be able to go in and collaborate with your team. It's just, yeah, it's kind of the logical next step of Copilot.
Perfect. Yeah,
Michael, to answer your question, my personal opinion, I will get shade for this. Anything but OneNote.
And I'm a hardcore OneNote. But my answer for this is that because this kind of feeds into what Microsoft hates, or at least Jeff Teeper hates at Microsoft, is the which tool do I use when? And Microsoft's answer for that is always yes. Use the tool that makes more sense. So they will have overlapping functionality. I'm a OneNote person, but using Copilot and OneNote is awesome. Being able to leverage the content in OneNote and my Copilot data and my responses. That's the other one. It depends. Yes, it depends on what you're trying to do. And so work in the space that's comfortable for you. But Loop has some other issues. We're not going to go into the Loop like from a security governance standpoint. I love Loop. I want it to work at the enterprise level in the right way. But this Copilot has all the governance and security components in place. So it doesn't affect governance in the same way that Loop does.
Right.
Okay. All right, let's keep going here. My bet is always look at the Microsoft roadmap to see where Microsoft is concentrating on. Yes. You'll see 500 items for Copilot notebooks and pages, 100 items for Loop, probably close to 10 items for OneNote. So you probably can see where they're going with that. If you're a OneNote fan, I don't think there's going to be a huge amount of investment in the future. Again, I don't work for Microsoft, so I can say what I want, but I don't see much investment going through there.
That wouldn't stop you anyway.
They killed the Windows version of OneNote, which is good, which was confusing and didn't have all the features, but yeah.
Couple of other things. I'm going to get through these a little bit quickly because we're already running out of time. A couple of new agents coming, reasoning agents. For those of you who are fans, I'm a huge fan of Perplexity, a huge fan of Google Notebook LM and the reasoning stuff. This is also coming to Microsoft 365. 2 agents called the researcher agent and the analyst agent. Think of the analyst agent as something that you can use to leverage leverage and analyze data. Again, it uses the chain of thought reasoning, which is really fascinating and can be really, really powerful. The researcher agent for me is really interesting. We use a lot of ChatGPT deep research. We find it very, very powerful. Now you can take your own internal content, maybe external content, use the researcher agent, and have all of that power through there as well. So again, going to be super interesting to see how these things hit. But also, we talked about there being many, many agents. I would expect these are the first couple of multiple agents that Microsoft is releasing. There's another one as well, which I don't have a slide on, called I think it's the People Skills Agent or something. That one basically is what everyone's been asking for, a really good employee directory where you can go and ask, who does Christian report to, right? What's Christian's title? All of that sort of stuff is going to be available through an agent as well.
The one that's also missing from this that I'm most excited about is the PM agent. So the project management agent, it's really cool. There's videos out there. In fact, I'll go look for it. I'll grab the link and drop it in the chat. If that's your world, take a look at this. I mean, there's other things that are coming up, like they're going to be building a co-pilot for My Tasks. Think about that. If you're using Planner and you have My Tasks, that you have tasks from across 20 different projects or initiatives in your organization, to be able to leverage Copilot, sometimes automate, build an agent that actually completes tasks for you, as well as just automating that process and gets through all of your tasks. I'm so excited about that space.
Perfect. Okay, 15 minutes left. I'm gonna go through this slide really quickly, and then we're gonna go to something more interesting. Unfortunately, folks, I know everyone's interested in OneDrive. Not too much interest of OneDrive. There's an audio overview of content. I think it's kind of neat. I mean, it's pretty interesting. It's same capability as Google Notebook LM. Essentially, you give it a Word document, and then it creates like an audio podcast style overview. It's fairly surreal if you've basically done that before, but we can do that. You can ask it questions on images. There's Copilot for File Explorer, the ever-present reliability improvements, which they talk about all the time. By now, with the amount of reliability improvements, OneDrive should be reliable. PDF annotations, colored folders on mobile. I know when I was there, that got the biggest amount of claps, which always makes me funny. And then lots of warnings about OneDrive changes for unlicensed users. I hope you know about this, folks. If you have OneDrives and your users are unlicensed, they, after a certain amount of time now, are going to go to the bin. So it's a big, different change. I know for organizations, it could be a pretty interesting one as well. All right, let us move on here. I knew we were going to run out of time. You're going to get the slides, those folks. There's lots of stuff there. Let's talk about this one. I thought this was really neat. Copilot in SharePoint Pages. Joy, do you want to talk a little bit about this one? This one demoed extremely well for our corporate comms folks.
This is fantastic for people like me because I love a good intranet. I can design you a great intranet. I cannot make it pretty. That is why we have people like our Rob. We have beautiful designers out there in the world. Here to be able to utilize Copilot to do structure, to bring images in. I'm going to say this, though, please be better than the early days of building a PowerPoint presentation using Copilot. This could be very, very powerful for organizations that know they need a better intranet, can look at all of the content that's around, help really do something logical and hopefully visually pleasing as well. But yeah, to be able to create that from a prompt, which means we need to be practicing our prompts. We need to be setting up Viva Engage communities for prompt sharing and learning and all that good stuff. Power to the people. I love it.
Yeah. Yep. There's a good one as well. You can give it documents. It will create content and structure and sections and images as well. So this is really powerful.
I would just add that there is feedback back to Microsoft that a number of people have requested, say, well, we've got a style guide for our company. We have templates for these. Can you adhere to the style guide? So that's something they're still working on. Yeah. But again, it's very dynamic, how fast you can put something together. Then you can spend your time just matching to your style guide because it does 80% of the work for you.
Yep.
Nice. Other SharePoint improvements really quick. So we're in the SharePoint part of the hour here. Flexible sections as well. Everyone's favorite web part, slam a web part, move things around wherever you want. Really good from a visual design perspective. This was a new one as well, the editorial web part for SharePoint. I'm not sure if people know about this one, but this was a way to kind of put images and text together nicely. Talked a little bit about Amplify already. I don't know if anyone is using SharePoint Embedded as well, a bunch of new features around that. The other thing that I have on a slide, which I'm not going to show because we're going to go through this quickly, there's also an AI generated, what is it? is it an FAQ or a glossary web part? It's one of those. No, an acronyms web part. There's an AI generated acronyms web part, which I thought is absolutely genius because God only knows every organization has a lot of acronyms, and now it's going to generate it for you. So I thought
think
that was
That's awesome.
super
I
neat.
think they got the idea from us though, because of our acronym dictionary we include in our template features.
Potentially now it's all AI driven. Again, we'll give you this, but this was a slide shared by
Adam Harmetz.
Harmetz. Yep, lots of good stuff coming. Essentially,
Oh, yeah.
stuff available
Yep.
now, stuff on the roadmap, and obviously stuff coming soon as well. So again, they broke it down into things. Lots of SharePoint agent stuff here as well.
Love it.
Okay, 10 minutes left. A lot around SharePoint Advanced Management as well. We heard so a lot of new reports coming out. Again, Microsoft starting to introduce capabilities to help with oversharing. They seem to be okay with sprawl. Like I was laughing about this, that lots around oversharing, lots around lifecycle. We're good with sprawl. No one's got sprawl issues, so we'll just leave that as it were. A few new reports coming to SharePoint Advanced Management. Oh, these are fairly small, people. I apologize, but you'll be able to zoom into them once we get the slides. Content management assessment. People really like this. I kind of drilled down a little bit into this. I think it's a really good idea, but all it basically does, it gives you the ability to run all of the reports in a single time. And I think it can also be run once every 30 days. I'm not sure. I have to confirm, but I saw that within the screenshot, and I asked someone about this as well. There's also a new good SharePoint agent access report. As you know now, if you've got an M365 license or you have pay-as-you-go configured, you get a SharePoint agent by default in your SharePoint site. It's really difficult to remove. It's there, but now Microsoft is also going to show you where all of those agents are. So this is a very welcome report because before there just wasn't anything, basically, for you as well. So there's some good high level information available through here as well. Some other types of reports. This was a big one, and I really like this as well. There's a permission report available now for a group or a user, which will show you all of the sites or groups a user has access to. Remember, we used to run all of these scripts to find out what a person had access to. Well, now this is going to be available through SharePoint Premium. It doesn't show you the details of what or how. It just shows you that they have access to this thing. Again, good high level information. If you want specific information, you're going to have to look at PowerShell or third-party tools or whatever else. But I think this is a great step forward to at least help you understand who the hell has access to what, because that's a really, really common question. And before that was all done by scripts or by consultants.
Yeah.
So this would be a good one as well. There's also another report here with called out. There's an agent insight reports. I told you there's a lot around agents, particularly around SharePoint Premium here. Again, there's also more reports coming around agent insights. I think this agent insight report is not just for SharePoint agents. It's also for custom agents, or what are they called? Declarative agent as well through here. So there's all sorts of stuff here as well. But this permission one I really like. Just so you know, it's high level. It's just going to show you the access. It's not going to allow you to drill down or how they have access or all of those sorts of features as well. Christian or Joy, what did you think about some of the SharePoint Premium stuff that came out? Let's go back into here as well.
Yeah, I think that being able to go in and do those fundamental things, to be able to get insights into what's the activity around each of the agents, but more specifically, like the cost factors, the usage and cost factors, message consumption, adoption rates, kind of all those different things. Whether it provides exactly what you need or not, or need more granular control over those things. But again, you'd expect to have that at least from a high level. What's being used, by whom, where, and what does this cost? So that you can better manage that. And maybe if you see that, hey, the costs are going up in this because it's being used, does it need to be re-architected? Does it need to be designed in a different way to be more efficient? So that's just something that I think a lot of organizations realized with kind of Azure in general, is that you can't just take what you did on-prem and move that to the cloud and do things the same way. It can become very expensive. You need to optimize for the cloud. It's similar for this. You need to be aware of how it's consuming and optimize your solutions for the agents for Copilot.
Yeah, a lot of this, it makes my heart happy because, Michael, like you said, either we've been running scripts for a decade, or we used to have to go through the admin center and dig into site collections and try to figure this stuff out. Long overdue for a lot of these things. These site lifecycle policies, long overdue. Happy to see it coming to the product. It's not, I don't know, it's not going to be necessary. Well, now, am I lying? This is included now.
What's that?
With Copilot, if you have Copilot.
Yeah, just so you know, yeah. So all of the SharePoint Advanced Management stuff, as long as you have one Copilot license, you get all of this stuff.
If you don't, it will be an extra cost, but there's ways to mitigate that. For those of you asking the questions, you've seen Michael's answering it. Some good things are coming out of Orchestry around this as well. So stay tuned and keep your feature requests coming, Georgina.
Yeah, so I think what we're seeing on the advanced management side, really great high-level reporting. I think Eric asked the question, will you get the detailed permission reporting, which a lot of people need, right? So, hey, if this person has access to this, what files do they have access to? Is it via a shared link? This is via broken permission. I really doubt Microsoft is going to go down that route. The reason that is, if they did, they would have a lot of shocked customers, one would say, around the kind of mess and carnage that exists. But this is an amazing start as well from Microsoft. At least they're giving you something. One final thing as well, I'm not sure who's doing pay-as-you-go for Copilot at the moment. We spoke to a very, very large pharmaceutical company. They turned on pay-as-you-go billing for SharePoint agents, and within a day, they got a bill for $25,000, and then they turned it off just as quick. As well. There was no real way to control pay-as-you-go billing. It was a very, very, very large, very well-known pharmaceutical company. But they're like, yeah, it lasted 18 hours, and then we saw our bill, and we were like, nope, not turning that on. If you are doing pay-as-you-go now, there is a whole bunch of things that you can do now. You can actually understand, what people are using. You can put in billing policies. There's a whole bunch of good reports as well through here. Again, all of this stuff we want to incorporate into Orchestry through here as well. The other thing that they do as well, which I think is quite nice, is you can also see if there's a user that's using a lot of these prompts across different agents, what they can essentially do is then go and see, hey, this person is, using, let's say, 500 credits or 1,000 credits or whatever it is. It might be just cheaper to give them a $30 Copilot license because they can use as much as you want as well. Yes, Georgina, 18 hours, 25 grand, essentially. Again, very, very, very large pharmaceutical company. Very, very large. So we were having a good laugh about that. They asked us at Orchestry, do you guys do anything about that? I'm like, not at the moment. They're like, damn, no one does. And then I'm like, you turning it back on? They're like, oh God, no.
Yeah.
Never again. All right. The time. There was so much. Christian, Joy, any final thoughts about the conference?
Oh, about the conference? No, it's just I did a blog post because that's what I do. I blog a lot, but talking about I get more value out of the conversations I have in the expo hall that I have in the hallways than out of the sessions there. Again, listening to what questions other people are asking, issues that other people are experiencing. And so that's what I recommend. If you can't make it to the big annual event, and I believe it's moving to Florida for the next one. There's
Orlando next year.
Yeah, so Orlando next year. If you can't make it to that, some of the other regional, larger regional events, please make it out to those because, you just can't. The value is in the networking and the conversations that you have within the community.
Yeah, and Mark, that's a good question. I say yes, because where else do you get to connect? But like Christian said, if you can't make it to the big one, you don't want to have to deal with Vegas for a week. There are some really good smaller conferences out there. The Tech Cons, the CommsV Next, the Commsverse in the UK. I think ESPC is a little bit more affordable than Vegas for a week. Just do it. Connecting with the community face to face. It's just so great. In Canada, there are a lot of smaller, like M365 Fridays and Saturdays. There was just a great one in Toronto. I know they have them in Montreal. We'll send some resources out when we do the follow-up email for like the Community Days website where you can plug into those. It's worth it to be out in the community, 100%.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, everyone. Thank you, Joy. Thank you, Christian. Thank you, everyone, for all the great things. This slide deck does have more slides as well. So there'll be more things here. We just didn't get a chance to go through them all. Hopefully this has been useful. Before we go, there is another webinar coming up. I don't have a link to it, unfortunately, but on Tuesday, Joy, the master of all things SharePoint intranets, Sue Hanley, will be joining us. Register for that one. Sue is an amazing speaker, and she will be talking all about intranets in the age of AI, from what I understand, Joy, correct?
That is correct. Georgina, Emily, Mark, Lori, we're interested in that Corp Comms. Register for the one with Sue, because she's gonna bring up all kinds of things that flesh out that holistic picture. Any questions that come out of it, we can do a deep dive in a future episode or webisode or whatever these are.
Perfect. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much. If you're interested in Orchestry, get in touch with us. We're always happy to answer any questions for any Orchestry customers on here. You know we love and appreciate all of you, so thank you. Have a great day. See you all next time. Thanks, Joy. Thanks, Christian.
Bye.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.